There's a chill in the air. So, welcome to our Thursday presentation, Facebook Live presentation, where Purse Strings provides our Facebook group and now our LinkedIn group, Purse Strings Approved Professionals. And what we do at Purse Strings is we provide women free online tools and resources to help them make smart financial decisions for themselves and for their families over the trajectory of their lives. And moreover, is we look high and low for financial professionals, all areas of finance, including attorneys, coaches, divorce coaches, business coaches, real estate attorneys,
all that good
estate
stuff.
planning attorneys. We're looking for those, CPAs, FAs, insurance, PNC agents. So any area of financial, we look for top-tier financial professionals who really want to serve a female market. It's a very overlooked market in the industry, and that's why we created Purse Strings. They are $24 trillion overlooked market, underserved market, yet women influence 95% of the purchasing decisions in the household. And this month at Purse Strings, we're talking on a theme of widows. Now, as we say, not a very sexy topic to be talking about, but a very, very important one. And here's why. And we've been posting this a lot in LinkedIn and on our Facebook groups. 2,800 women every day become widowed. 2,800 women. I really fear that number will grow as the baby boomer swell of the baby boomers age. And statistically, we know that a male partner will die prior to their female partner, oftentimes, and statistically it's shown. So women will age alone, and they will be responsible for their own health and welfare and oversight and finances. And, you know, one of the reasons I created Purse Strings was I'd run through Target or Costco and I'd see these women of retirement age bagging my groceries or serving those little snacks. And I'd say, why are they doing this? And the research will tell you that many women in retirement years do need to cobble together jobs to pay their bills. So we're always saying, ladies, come to the table and ask your questions, be part of the conversation, because financial decisions made in your early years will impact you in retirement. And it will impact you probably more so than your male partner.
Definitely.
The other reason we're talking about widows is because the average age of a widow is 59. So younger than most people think. And we just want to get in front of these stats and make sure women are prepared in the event something should happen. We have a lot of widow stories that we're sharing this month, both in our Facebook group and our Instagram group. Women have stepped forward and shared their very powerful and sad stories, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Some women said, you know, I had a great financial planner. I was totally taken care of. I didn't have to worry about the finances. I could just grieve and take care of my family. Other women, not so much. They're really kind of deer in the headlights. So at Purse Strings, we're really on a mission to have these really important conversations, bring you professionals like Linda Lingo, who have come forward and said, I can speak on this topic and share some very valuable information for women. So today we are talking about, you know, young widows. What comes next? And we know there are a lot of young widows out there, probably with young children, who are concerned about what do I do? I was a stay-at-home mom, or I worked and my husband worked and we both brought in income. Now it's half, or now there's not an income. And we're talking about the importance of life insurance, even for women who are stay-at-home moms, right?
It's a huge job.
Huge. And it's so valuable. I mean, I think they did a study. It was like $180,000 a year to replace what a woman does on a daily basis in terms of child rearing and schooling and clothing buying and meal prep and all that goes on in our daily lives. So we're glad you're here. We're glad you joined us. I'd like to introduce my business partner, Maggie.
Hey, I'm Maggie. Helping out, working with Purse Strings here, and we're so excited to have Linda on today. I think I'm just going to give a quick intro to Linda and we'll just get this started.
Yeah, let's get this started. Very important information. And thank you, Linda, for being here, one of our financial coaches who's also our purse strings approved professionals. So, yeah, let's have her take it away. Go ahead, Mags.
All right, this is Linda Lingo. As a financial coach, she provides tools and resources that help women gain clarity and confidence in their finances to move forward with their lives. She wants to empower women with smart money strategies so they can create a stress-free approach to money. With over 30 years of experience in the financial industry, she has accumulated the knowledge and skill to understand your financial needs. More importantly, she has experienced most life events, thus giving her firsthand understanding of what many women are going through, which is so important. I mean, we never want to go to it, but being able to relate is super important. So Linda, we're so happy to have you today, and I'm just going to give you the floor.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you, ladies and men, if there are men there, but we're speaking to widows today, so welcome to you who are joining me. And this probably, like Barb and Maggie were saying, this isn't an exciting topic, but it's such a necessary topic. And so let me tell you a little bit about my story. First of all, I am the first to let you know I am not a widow. So I will put that right out there. But I do have a lot of compassion for widows because I experienced it with my youngest sister who lost her husband at the age of 30. I was with her. It was sudden. He was killed instantly in an accident. She had 3 young children, ages 3, 5, and 7. You talk about shock. She was in shock. I'll never forget the phone call. And I was with her for, the first 30 days, 24/7, and then with her through the first year. And so I haven't experienced it. I can't tell you I've been in your shoes, but I can tell you I've been beside you. And not only that, but I've coached many women, many of them, it's surprising, who are widows in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and of course, older. But I think it's always more shocking the younger we are because we don't expect it. Maybe we don't plan for it. And I'm not going to tell you you can plan for it, other than I will say this. If you don't have life insurance on both of you, you need it. I don't sell life insurance, but I can tell you I have worked with many widows who were in a world of hurt because they didn't have it, and those who it made the first year easier because they did have some money that they could readily access. So if you're not a widow, if you don't have life insurance, talk to somebody, and I highly recommend that you get some. And that's another discussion as to how much and when. But having said that, if you're a widow, you may be a range of emotions when your spouse dies. And unfortunately, these feelings don't go away. I just remember my sister, the first month, she was in shock, of course. And she told me later, she goes, I was in a fog. It was just a fog. And I mean, and this is where I highly recommend that if you have a trusted, sister or girlfriend, and I do mean trusted, somebody that you rely on, know they have your best interest in mind in all things. You need a person like that close by you for the first couple months. When you start thinking about your finances on top of everything else, it's not uncommon to be really emotionally overwhelmed. And what you are feeling is right off the top. What you are feeling is normal. Don't judge yourself. You need to feel your emotions. You need to work through them, or they will erupt in strange ways later on in your life. So it's okay. I want you to give yourself permission to feel the emotions and to work through them. You also, like I said, if you have someone who's a trusted friend or sister, definitely, ask them if they don't volunteer, to help you through some of these really tough months. As a result of working with many widows, my sister being the first and many since then, I put together what I call the widow planning checklist. So you're a widow, you've recently experienced it. It's primarily for the first year, but it can certainly be used beyond that. You will be making a myriad of decisions. And so the first thing I say, it's okay to give yourself grace and to postpone major decisions. Maybe you think, oh my gosh, do I have to sell the house and move in with somebody? If you don't have to make that decision right away, don't. Give yourself grace and don't make any major decisions in the first year when possible. The other thing I would say is one of the first things I always tell my widow clients is get a notebook. I don't care what it looks like, but get a notebook, because you will not remember conversations you have, or you may not remember the details of conversations you have. So get a notebook and literally keep it with you and write down everything: date, conversation, who you talked to, maybe any dates or due dates that were discussed, and the gist of the conversation. So now, unfortunately, is the time when you have to start pulling together your financial information, and you have to be your own advocate and protect yourself. So here's a warning. You will, if you're blessed to have friends and relatives, you're blessed. Unfortunately, many of them will be telling you what they think your best decision is for whatever the situation is. They're good meaning, but this is when you need your trusted sister or friend with you to really have that second set of ears, so that you can bounce ideas off of her. Do you need to sell the house? Do you need to move in with your daughter? Things like this. Your friends are going to tell you, or your relatives are going to tell you what they think you should be doing, but that may be well intended, and it may be what they think would be best for you, but maybe that isn't what's best for you, especially right now. So, you be graceful, say, thank you. I'm getting a lot of advice. I need to take it all into consideration. But thanks for your concern. And then move on, because you need to make what decisions are best for you. So that's why I say, get a notebook, write everything down, any conversation, date, time, who you talk to. So here goes the checklist. The first thing you need to do is to begin to organize. And maybe that's the last thing on your mind. And this is where your friend or sister comes into play. Ask them to organize, get an organization system in place. And I mean file folders and files. You will be handling so many pieces of paper that if you don't get it organized, it will overwhelm you and cause you more anxiety and stress. So start out by getting organized, or having your friend help you do that. And you'll have to pull together things like his birth certificate, his death certificate, if he was in the military, any VA papers, his social security number and card, and the list goes on. I mean, that's just the first obvious things. You will be handling bank statements, life insurance policies, his employment papers, pension. You will have so many different sources of information coming to you that you really need to get organized. So that really is step one. Create a calendar with important dates. So besides your notebook, or maybe in your notebook, have a calendar, I would say month by month, so you can put down what the due dates are for different things. Because as we go into the second item, which is professional team, that being your attorney, your tax preparer, and your financial advisor, when you talk to each one of them, they will have different dates for you. For instance, your tax preparer, your estate return has to be done within 9 months from the date of death. That's a deadline. You need to put that on your calendar. There will be other dates that your team will be discussing with you. Put those on your calendar, and other things that come up in your daily life. Have a calendar so you can keep track of them. So number 2 is contacting your professional team. With your attorney, you're going to talk to them about your will and your trust. What was drawn up. What does this mean for you? With your tax preparer, obviously, are there any special tax situations in the first year besides your estate tax return? And then with your financial advisor, obviously, you should be going over your finances. And this is your team. You should trust them, and you should have open and honest, frank conversations with them. And if you want your trusted sister or friend with you, tell them that. It's okay to have somebody with you in these conversations, and I actually recommend it. Once again, to have another set of ears so you can hear what they're saying, and to be taking notes. They can be taking notes for you. And then number 3 is to review your cash flow for the first year. Well, what do I mean by that? So this is where you list all of the money that's coming in and what your average monthly bills are. Now, if you've been involved in the finances, this will be easier for you because you've already been paying the bills, so you know what your monthly expenses are. Maybe you have it on, it's all automatic and electronic. That's great. If it's not, then you'll be writing checks. I know for my older widows that I have coached, this is tough when their husband was the one paying all the bills. I'll never forget one client, they're dear clients, and he had pancreatic cancer, died within a month. She had never taken care of the finances. But one thing I always insisted on was, this was when I was their financial advisor, they both come to the meetings with me. I wouldn't let him come alone. I always said, nope, you've got to come too. And to her, and they did. And, it was one of the things she really thanked me for. She goes, if I hadn't been talking to you along the way, if I didn't trust you, she goes, it would have been a lot harder. She goes, but yeah, I'll never forget her calling me and saying, he's gone. And I said, okay, I'm sorry, obviously, but, walking through that with her, but we already had the trust established. And so even though she had never paid the bills, and I helped her with that part too, but we could walk together through her finances and make sure she was being taken care of. So all that to say, make sure you have a team in place of an attorney, a tax person, and your financial advisor. Number 4 is to collect your benefits. You might not think about all the different options or that there are for benefits out there, and I'm just going to name some. I don't have time to go through all of them in detail, but this is where being organized will definitely help, because you will need a copy of his death certificate, his birth certificate, your marriage certificate. You can file for your Social Security, government benefits. I'm not going to go into the details because that's a whole conversation. There's different ways to do that, but you can definitely contact ssa.gov, to apply for widows benefits. And they're different if you're not retired versus if you're retired. So that does make a difference. If you have young children, they might be eligible for Social Security benefits until they reach the age of 18 or finish college, go through college. So Social Security. Then, of course, if there was a life insurance policy on your spouse, contact the life insurance agent so you can get that benefit started immediately. And then review the payout options. You might have different payout options on that life insurance policy. If he was a veteran, you need to get veterans benefits. Contact the Department of Veterans Affairs. If he had an IRA, this is when you talk to your financial advisor. This doesn't have to be done immediately, but you can roll that IRA over into a spousal benefit, a spousal IRA. Obviously, if he was working, you need to contact the HR department. Once again, you're going to have to supply them with a death certificate and probably a marriage license, copy of that, and talk to them about everything like unpaid salary, unpaid vacation, unpaid sick leave, if there's any pension, what the payout options are, if there was a 401k or a 403b or a 457, depending on who we worked for, but a 401k, discuss the options on that. One of them, if you're the primary beneficiary, which you should be, is to roll it over into a rollover IRA for yourself. So those are all conversations that you would need to have with his former employer, the HR department. And then, of course, like I said, if you had a pension, either from current employer or previous employer, you would want to discuss with them how you can take that, what the options are. It could be a lump sum payout. It could be lifetime annuity. There are different options depending on what kind of a pension it is. And here's a tip for you that a lot of widows, younger widows who have kids in college don't think about, and that's contact the financial aid department. Because if your children have lost a parent, they may qualify for additional financial aid. So think about that as you're working through the different benefit sources. Okay, that was 4. 5 is to adjust your health and insurance coverage. So first of all, of course, you want to make sure you've got health insurance. And if you had it through his employer, there is something called COBRA, which you may be able to extend the benefits. You'll have to pay for them, but you may be able to extend them. But getting your own medical insurance is one of the first things you need to do. And of course, if you have young kids, you want to make sure they've got insurance too. Depending on your income, you may qualify for state aid. So there's options there. So make sure you have your own medical insurance coverage. And then as far as all your other insurance, you will notify, everything from homeowners, auto, your liability, your long-term care, any other policies you have, to let them know that he has passed and that you are the sole person on those insurance policies now. This is a perfect time also to say, take a look at your own life insurance policy, because you need life insurance policy on you and to provide, especially if you have children and you're a younger widow. So that advisor as far as some type of life insurance. Okay, number 6, review your assets and liabilities. Okay, well, that's the technical for list what you own and list what you owe. Now, you don't have to do this in the first month or two, but say, month 6, 7, 8, you need to have a clear understanding of what you own and what you owe, so that you have understand, and for your own security, really, you understand what your financial situation is. Do you own your house, or do you have a mortgage? Do you own your car? Do you have a car payment? I mean, you're probably going to know some of this stuff, but it's good to write it down so you really have it on paper in black and white, so you can see where you're at financially. And your financial advisor might help you work through this too. And they might have a form that you can use, and there's several online, but I highly recommend you doing this so you can really see where you're at financially. Excuse me. And then number 7 is to complete the estate settlement. What this means is you will be changing the title on your home, on your car, on any of your investments. If you have any retirement or life insurance, you want to update the beneficiaries so that your children or another close relative or friend is your beneficiary as opposed to your spouse. And I've seen this too many times where it hasn't gotten changed. It really causes issues when you pass away for your heirs. So make sure you update your beneficiaries on all of those things. And then when you're ready to change the name on your credit cards, you'll have to send this in writing. So request it in writing along with a copy of the death certificate. They require both of those in printed form. Here's a tip for you. Leave your joint checking account open for at least a year. Now, why do I say that? Because you will get checks payable to him or payable to both of you. If you leave your joint checking account open, it makes it so much easier because you'll have an account to deposit that check in and then for you to withdraw the funds. If you don't leave it open, it's just a real hassle to try and cash any checks that have his name on it. So that's what I recommend, is leaving that joint checking account open for a year. Of course, you're going to have to file your estate tax return. Like I said, 9 months from the date of his death. Your tax preparer will certainly help you with that. So that's kind of the nuts and bolts of the financial stuff you have to go through that first year. But here's a couple other things that maybe aren't in the financial realm, but I think are totally important because I come from coaching a holistic approach. So number 8, I want you to take care of yourself. And this might be things like consider joining a support group for widows, or talk with a counselor. Don't feel like you have to buck up and do it on your own. It's okay to ask for help, and it's okay to express your emotions, and it's okay to speak with a counselor or be part of a support group. Actually, it's really healthy. Remember your self-care. And this might be really tough if you have young kids. And this is where that trusted person also comes in to help, or family members. Is, it's okay to say, I need a couple hours by myself, whether it's just to be by yourself, to read a book, to take that bath you've been desiring, to go get a massage, to go just have a cup of tea by yourself. It's okay to ask for help, and and to surround yourself with that network of trusted individuals. And then I think it's healthy I'm a reader, so I always, I read a lot. So here's one really good book that several of my widow clients have said they appreciated, was called For Widows Only. And it's by Annie Estlund, Estlund. That's just one. Another one is A Widow's Guide. And this is by Anna Byrne, Byrne. She's actually an attorney. And it's a lot more in-depth and legal, but it had a lot of good information in it as well. And then keep in touch with your female friends. Sometimes my widow client said it's so easy to isolate themselves and to turn inward. And this is where it's, even if it's just a text, to say, I'm here, I could use a friend, do you have time for coffee? Don't isolate yourself. Reach out and stay in touch with your girlfriends. And number 9, and this is probably really hard to hear, especially if you're in your first year of widowhood, but it's create an updated financial plan, focusing on your short-term goals first. Keep it simple and manageable. Make goals for your new life. And you may not be ready to hear that there is life after grief. There will be. It will take time. You will need to do things like updating your will and your estate plan, because it's different now. I also encourage my widows to expand their social circle, to meet new people, to meet people who see them as themselves, not just half of a couple. And then I would say a word of warning, and I even hate that I have to say this, honestly, but here it is. Be careful about sharing your financial information with people you don't know well. And here I'm talking about entering into a new relationship too quickly. Unfortunately, there are people out there who are looking for that purse, they call it, a woman who's well established financially. So just beware. And I would say, be more conservative with who you share your financial information, because it's yours, and really nobody else needs to know about it other than, a few really inner circle friends, is how I would put it. So that's moving forward with new goals for your new life. That's number 9. And that's probably the hardest one. And if you're newly widow, that's probably pretty raw and something that you're not ready to address yet, which I totally get. So I guess my final word is, I understand that you're at a very vulnerable time following your spouse's death. So go slowly, be gentle, give yourself time to heal. If you want to contact me, I offer 20-minute free consultation. If you just want to kind of check in and see if you're on the right path, please do, lindalingo.com. And then I have a private Facebook group, and I'm very particular about who I let into it. And that's where any money question is a good money question, and where we can continue the conversation. It's a small private Facebook group. So I offer that to you too. It's on Facebook, Women Talk Finances. And I'm open for any questions. If there's time, Maggie, I'm afraid I went a little bit over. Sorry about that, but I wanted to get that info out there.
Of course. No, that was great, Linda. Yeah, if anyone has any questions who's tuning in right now, please throw them in the chat. Um, and I loved really everything you said. I think there's a lot of I think about these conversations and all these people, and you think it might be silly to write it all down, but you're going through, maybe on a normal day, you'd be able to remember all that, but you have to remember that you're going through such a time, and to be soft with yourself and be gentle, just because it's not easy. You're doing a lot of things, especially if you're still trying to balance kids and everything else. So it is important for that self-care. And your girlfriends want to help you. They just don't want to attack you, so it's like you got to find that happy medium on all sides.
And a lot of times they don't know how. And so when you can say, oh, if you could organize this paper for me, or if bring my calendar up to date, here's my notes, or come with me to a meeting and take notes for me, I think they're more than happy. It's just they're not always sure, if they haven't been through it themselves, what the best way is to help.
Just be there with them. Somebody said, this is so helpful. Can you share what was the name of the book that you referenced to earlier?
Well, there's two. For Widows Only is by Annie Estlund, Estlund, and the other one is called A Widow's Guide by Anna Byrne, Byrne.
I've heard about A Widow's Guide before. I've heard good things about that one. But you can really tell that there's a lot of I's to dot and T's to cross, after this happens. So you do really need your financial team just to kind of help you with that checklist. They're more than happy to help, because your advisor does more than just your investing or things like that, telling you what to do. They will help you with those accounts and opening and closing what you need to do and making sure all that is really taken care of. That, you really do need those team members as well. Let me see if any other questions are coming through here.
I just remember sitting with my sister and just being bombarded with so many questions, so many decisions she had to make those first 6 months, really, definitely the first couple months, the first 6 months, and then trying to be a mom too, because she had 3 little ones. And so at times it was just totally overwhelming, and I'd see her just close down, and it makes me cry right now.
Oh, Linda, it's very hard. It's a very hard topic, and we know, these are hard things to talk about, but so important, because you do want your family to be best in line if anything were to happen. And so we always just want to plan, for the what if. It's not like we're planning on them dying anytime soon, but it's life, it's hard. Yeah. And so we want to be able to, if you have some life insurance and all your papers together, that the loved ones you leave behind are in the absolute best scenario that they could be in, which is the biggest gift you could really give.
Absolutely. On a happier note, I will say, well, it wasn't, I think back about my clients. I've had so many. And one gal, she was in her early 50s, and I had just redone both the life insurance on both of them. And he had a major heart attack a year later, died unexpectedly. And, she said, if it wouldn't have been for you and doing that planning and having that life insurance in place, I don't know where I'd be right now. So it's a conversation that everyone needs to have.
Definitely. And it's, as much as it doesn't seem urgent, you don't want to keep pushing it off until it's too late, which is hard.
It is urgent.
So, today or tomorrow, let's get at it, not in a couple of weeks, because you just never know, and you don't want it to be, you don't want to be too late to the party right there.
Right.
Somebody else is commenting that she's a widow with a 3-month-old, and it's so hard. And I'm sure that it is. My heart goes out to you. That's very difficult. And you do need a lot of support. Your friends, just take care of your kids and just get some breathing room, for sure.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to reach out. Absolutely.
Definitely.
Wow, this has been such a great conversation. Such a sensitive topic, as we all can tell, but one that we really want to start talking about, because you've listed 9 amazing steps. I've taken copious notes of things that women can do once they realize they're in this situation where they're suddenly widowed, and what they need to do. Purse Strings is also here to provide financial professionals who can help you get in front of any situation like this. You know, it's one of our missions, right, Mag, to make sure every woman has a will and their power of attorneys set up and life insurance. Those are so important for women and men. I don't care if you're working or not working. Everybody needs that. And as much as I hear people say, oh, life insurance, it's a scam, whatever, you know what? Talk to a trusted professional who's going to give you the right information that you're going to need, especially as you start having children and growing your family. It's you know, a life lesson we all need to learn, is that this is part of being an adult, is caring for yourself and making sure you're caring for others who are part of your family. So thank you,
Absolutely.
Linda, for this beautiful list here, for the care and comfort that you've shared for all women on what next steps to take. Everyone knows somebody or has been through this or knows somebody who's been through this.
Maggie, I think the Q&A I did recently on Purse Strings covers some of this too, if if they can access that.
Definitely, yeah. I'll post a link either later today or tomorrow about, you know, with the one-page handout and the video, anyone could watch back, but it'll have all our previous videos as well. And we've had articles all month long about widowhood, things that you should prepare, things that you should do after, to be proactive, and if you have to be reactive. And so all those are on our Facebook group. They're also on our website, pursestrings.co. So we'd love everyone to join, jump in the conversation. Let's be active, because we know if we're not talking about it, we're not learning about it. And so we want all these women to be in the best positions they can be in.
Absolutely.
So we thank you again a lot, Linda, for coming on today and sharing this great education, and everyone
Absolutely.
who tuned in and really realizing how important this is. So we'll be back next week with one last conversation about widowhood and things you need to prepare. So we appreciate everyone being here. Please reach out if you have any questions. You could always reach out to Linda at lindalingo.com. She's on Instagram as Money Mama Mentor, which I love. But she's also one of our Purse Strings approved professionals. So you could check her out on our website, pursestrings.co, where there's a ton of professionals there ready to help you, no matter what stage you're in. So thank you everyone for joining today, and we'll talk soon. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good one. Bye.